Hey folks, welcome to this look at Worldographer, and we're going to talk about your starting campaign area in this video. What I've done so far is I've created a map of about 1,000 hexes across and 500 wide, which if you listened to or watched our prior video on scaling your world, since the world is 25,000 miles across, at the equator, then this is going to be more like, yeah, like 25-ish miles at the equator. But then as you get further away, it's going to go up in scale. Where, at the 60 degrees latitudes, I believe we're at roughly double that, and then it goes up from there and grows exponentially at the poles, of course. So anyway, but back to the starting campaign area and stuff. Oh, the other thing that I did was I did switch in the icon sets here, where we've got the alt classic icons instead of the default icons. So that's why this might look a little bit different to you. Those are available in our store. It's stored on equalideas.com. So starting campaign areas. You can go about a couple of many different ways, actually, to create your campaign. I think that you want to have a core concept, and that core concept can just be, okay, I'm doing medieval fantasy, but with this spin on things. You can also be doing, design your pantheon, and then and decide how does that drive the campaign that you're trying to set up, with, of course, the players having a lot of say in how things actually end up going. Mapping wise, you can start with a big map of your world at a higher scale, you could do like the world level. In this case, we could do a 5-to-1 kind of thing for the world level, and make this make the scale 125 plus miles per hex. You can also start with a small area where you just detail the small campaign starting area, and then expand out. But since Worldographer generates the whole thing for you in one swoop, that's what we're going to do. But we're also kind of free to change things up. As we get further away, it's not set in stone. Until the players go somewhere, they don't know how accurate are those maps. So we're free to change things up. So what I've done also is I've also confirmed. I went up here to data, and we have our world info stuff. We have culture. So Worldographer, as many of you know, develops a number of nations and cultures and religions based on the values that it has in some of its built-in generators, and a setting that you choose. How many nations do you want? And then it will generate a number of cultures based on that number of nations, where it will create a new one, or maybe it reuses an existing one because there might be multiple nations that originate from the same culture. So I've gone through. So in my mind, I love gnomes, so I wanted to have a gnome culture, in particular a tinker rock gnome type culture, be central to it. Now it's going to be an open community, if you will. So humans and elves and dwarves and everybody else is going to be free to be there. There's going to be some decent percentage of those others. So whatever the players want to play, they can play. And I've looked through, and I know, like, for example, this Igana culture and this Keegan culture are both rock gnome based. So now these are very hostile to outsiders, so maybe I don't want to pick that one. Or I can just change it, so like, yeah. So I can go here to Keegan, and I can say, welcoming, right? And I can change this up however I want. Compassion, reliable, brave, etc. Okay, so I'm going to pick that culture of Keegan. Well, But then that drives a particular, let me hit save on that, and then the nations. So now I need to find what nation was based on Keegan. And we have quite a few here. So that's Ikana. That's the one I didn't pick. Okay, so Viskud. Viskud is the nation. Now I could change this too if I want to. But I'm going to, Viskud, yeah. We're going to make that the nation that we're going to do. So I can then hit save, close. Now I want my rock gnomes to be here. I kind of just scanned the map for a rocky area. So I want my rock gnomes here. And we want to, actually, maybe I want to pick one of the dormant volcanoes that they are more centered around. Well, we got this as far as active. Okay, so we've got up here. All right, so this is our home base, if you will. So I'm going to right click on this, and I'm going to say generate nation empire here. And we also have a generate nations and empires up on the menu bar, which will generate for the entire map. But this will actually say, hey, I want to make a capital city right here. So that's what we're going to do. So the nation that we wanted was Viskud. So we find Viskud here. And their color is going to be dark red. We're not going to bother with the translucency. I mean, we might do all the colors as dark red, but maybe not. Hit OK. And there is Viskud. And these are the default icons. And this is where what Worldographer is doing is it's finding a good starting, well, it's using the starting location that you pick. And then it's finding additional locations for towns and cities and other mining resources and so forth, which it didn't find any of. So we're going to have to do some of that on our own. And Viskud is right there. Now what I want to do, though, is I will go into features. And because this month happens to be steampunk as the theme for our current Patreon month, where we do a new set of icons, actually 4 mini sets of icons with one theme. And one of the mini sets is the classic World Kingdom style. So we're going to grab that. And this is our capital icon. I'm going to select this capital on the map here. I'm going to take this icon here and use that instead. And then likewise, I'm going to select, now this is, yeah, so, I might do, I'm going to take this one, delete that one, but now we're going to take this city and put that city icon, say, here. I'm going to take this city, delete that, I'm going to make that one a town, and put that there. And I'm going to do this, take this city here, delete that, and put a town in there. And then likewise, take this one, delete it, put in another town or city. I'm going to do a city because that's kind of far enough away that will be another city. And then I'm going to take this last one here, and nobody wants to be that close to that. Well, actually, we'll make it a village, but then we're also going to make it this. This is a tapped volcano where they're using the heat as energy. I'm going to use this hide terrain icon to remove the icon that's there by default. Oh, got to get rid of the label. Don't have a particular city name for it, but this is some sort of contraption that this village is basically responsible for maintaining, let's say, for that purpose. And then we can do, we've got a couple of, I believe this is our fort. So I'm going to put a fort down here. because I want this swamp presence to be something for them to worry about. Okay. This here is another forge or works. So they've got some really interesting thing, and that's kind of maybe that's here. So there's something interesting. So my concept for this nation is that these gnomes, tinker gnomes, they do a lot of constructs. They have a lot of things with constructs. That's what they're all about. But there's got to be some strife, some problem. And that problem is that this nearby swamp nation, let's go and let's get a couple more swamp things. Well, let's make a couple of marshes just for the variety. So we're going to fill in some of this additional, some of these additional hexes with marsh. Okay. So this nation here is, lizard people, or what? Yeah, maybe they are lizard people, and maybe they've been mostly neutral or good. They're not evil per se, but there's been a corrupting influence. There's been, and we don't have to decide that now. Maybe there's some undead force there that has managed to corrupt them and has managed to do something to the constructs. And so the constructs are revolting. But what I want to do next is I want to do this right click. So I need to pick a central location. I'm going to put them right smack dab in that hole. Okay, so generate a nation or empire here. And none of these are going to be lizard people based. So I'm just going to pick one of them, and we can rewrite. Just look at, okay, Isothalond? Snuggle Farm isn't going to be a good fit. Gimbal, so I'm just looking for something that sounds lizardy, and maybe that one is the best. Maybe that one is the best option for me. Isthathalond. Okay, so Isthathalond. Pick that one. Maybe we will make these guys this brownish olive color. Okay. And boom. So that's what they all are. Now, we got some changes to make here too, though, because obviously they're not really that big. Well, maybe they do have a city. Maybe they've got their capital. We'll call it their capital. Maybe they got one city or one town. We're going to take any cities away. So let's go with classic here, just to filter these out. And oh boy, yeah, the classic set does come with a lot of stuff. So here are all the different town icons that the classic set comes up with. So I'm going to select this city here and make that into not Viking, not Roman, just your regular everyday basic town. Greek, Roman, dwarf, East Asian, elf. This is regular town. Okay, the last one I looked at, of course. And that's, we're going to put it a little bit further away. And we can take, oh, yeah, the other one, okay, so the other one's our town. So let me just change this other one to a village. Let's go to village. All right. And let's see, this one here, maybe? No, that's probably going to be the dwarf one. That's Greek. This is our regular village. Okay. Oh, but I got to remove, so this one here. Delete that, put in our village, but these guys are more centered around the swamp. So we got that one there. Got this one here. I'm going to move that one into here and select this here. So that should give you an idea of what we're trying to do with this. So this is the territory that they claim. It does look like it matches. Okay, so there's a little bit of overlap. So there's a little bit of a dispute. So yeah. So that fort, you know, they're trying to claim that fort territory. You can see. I'll zoom in a little bit. You can see how the two territories overlap a little bit. So they're both trying to claim that territory. Let me also, though, move this label so it's not in the contested territory. Select. All right. So now with that out of the way, the other thing to do then is to just see, okay, features. So with any feature, I can pull up or generate a note about it. So I can take this, capital city, right? I can do notes of selected for it. And I can then probably fill in the title. Force taper. And I could edit all of this information. I can delete it all and come up with something new from scratch. But that's, I could use something to get started from. I can regenerate it as well. So we got that. That's that note. I can also go down here to notes, add edit view, and add new ones, custom ones. But if I want the system to generate one that's associated with the feature, I need to come down here. So like this city down here, we can do the same thing. Notes have selected. And now it's generated this one here. And this is Sparkode. Sparkode. Save. Right. And then likewise, I mean, I can, well, let's just pick one of these villages here as well, just for the sake of argument. We'll pick one of their villages, notes, and, I'll put in there ASENALUME. It's the name of that village. And you can see what the size is and some of the things about it. Hit save. But the other nice thing I can do is, if you've seen some of the other videos, is we can also right-click on any location, like right here in this near border area. Oh, let's do the contested area itself. And I can do generate random hex crawl details and say I want something major here. I can pick something major. And in this case, I picked a shrine. Okay. I can then close that out. Of course, I could change it up if I wanted to, or I can delete it if I don't want the shrine after all, if I decide, well, that's not quite what I was going for, and then I can do it again. I can pick another spot right there, generate, maybe this time I want to try what's a minor detail that I can add. And so here's some sort of treasure type thing. Save. So that gives you a way to kind of add to it, add some more detail to your campaign starting area. They'll give you some things like, hey, maybe the players want to go after that treasure, and they're going to do it during a war between these two countries, the gnomes that are fighting against the lizard people here. Now, maybe the lizard people, that corrupt leader, maybe it's some sort of a naga or a lizard folk shaman or something. Maybe they know about the treasure. That's why they decided to. You see, this is how you can make an interesting campaign. It's just brainstorming as you throw things down and see what sticks and see what ideas you generate from it. So maybe they know about that treasure, and that's why they decided to, take over this tribe, this country, and then contest and try to get this area, because they want to get after that treasure. And what is that treasure? And does anybody here know about it yet? So, in the interest of keeping this brief, though, that's kind of creating a starting campaign area with really just two countries. I would, just because it's so easy with Worldographer, I could, flesh this out a little bit more and say, okay, well, I've got, some other nation over here, and, I can pick any of these that I didn't pick before and hit OK, and that exists over there. Maybe I don't like that. I think that's too close. That's overlapping with the other stuff. So I undo it and say, well, okay, let's try again. So we pick this one here, generate nation or empire here, pick a different one. This time I will pick a different color. Maybe we'll go for some sort of a purple. Well, that's kind of too close to black. Okay, and now we got this one here, and that, yeah, it gets close, but it doesn't quite, these guys are overlapping and trying to get into there. Actually, here we're overlapping into here. So I can either, remove that territory by going into shapes, for example. I can hit select. So I can redo this country's generation again, or I can select this shape and I can do add tile border to polygon. What that's going to do is let me click on an existing tile and remove it, or click on an area that's just outside and add it. So I can add it, or I can remove, double click by accident. So I can pull this back. And if I want to say that these two countries are not at war with each other, there we go. Then our borders line up. And yeah, so it's the land has encroached on their territory too, because they're trying to find this thing. And then I can do the same thing over here. But again, in the interest of keeping this kind of short, we'll cut it off there. So that's kind of creating a campaign starting area with Worldographer. I'm Joe Watson, the creator, and I hope that this helps you make some great maps and campaigns. Thanks.